Good reminders. Good reminders. Okay, we're recording. So the first thing, so I'm gonna say it again. So I found this old book of mine, right? This old book of mine that what is this is what I used every day. This is what I wrote in every day when I went from platinum 5,000 to chairman 50. Everything I wrote down, every thought I had, even some bills I had due, I wrote them down here. Some credit card bills I had due, some random thoughts I had due, that I had the random thoughts I had thought about, right? I wrote them down, literally everything, everything. And there's one more book that I actually left with my mom out in New York, and she actually just shipped it out to me. So I'll be getting that soon. So the amount of trainings and the new trainings and new value you guys are gonna get is literally like a chairman diary, like what I went through every single day to actually smash chairman, right? What I went through every day to smash chairman. So let's go. Let's get into it. The first thing was a goal, right? They tell you all the time, write down your goals. And when someone first told me that, I'm like, bro, I'm good. I know what I want. I don't got to write it down. It's not important to me. But like I said, when I decided to be coachable, that's when I started to see results in the business, right? When I decided to be coachable. So I want to show you what I wrote down. I don't know what day I wrote this down, but I wrote down, it literally says Chairman 25, Chairman 25, new home, skyrise, city view, right? Right? It says Chairman 25, new home, skyrise, city view. And that's it. And I wrote that at Platinum 5,000. And I want to share with you guys, I want to show you guys something, right? I want to show you guys something. I'm 800 feet in the sky. I got my goals on my people's team names on the wall right now. But I'm 800 feet in the sky with a city view. Like 800 feet in the sky with a city view. And I wrote this down at Platinum 5,000. I wrote it down at Platinum 5,000. Right. And I remember it was during quarantine. And then I remember Jason Brown said one time, he said, nothing happens to you, it happens for you. And then during quarantine, you couldn't talk to your friends. You couldn't be outside. You couldn't even eat. All you can do is order food. Right. And I remember feeling a little lonely during quarantine. And I literally wrote down right under that goal, I wrote down, sometimes you have better company with my own reflection, right? Better company with my own reflection. Sometimes you need to be alone because some of the people around you is why you are where you are right now, right? I wrote down better company with my own reflection. Sometimes you need to be alone so you can lock in. Something like I needed to be alone because that's when I work. Honestly, that's when I work best. That's when I work best. When I'm alone, when I'm just locked in the room and I'm just on go mode, that's when I work best. I went from Airbnb to Airbnb for one specific reason. I had a home, I had a whole room and my own bed and things like that, comfortable. But I went Airbnb to Airbnb because every morning I woke up in the Airbnb and it wasn't my bed. So I didn't feel like staying in bed. I literally, every morning I woke up like 8 a.m., got out of bed, and I had my routine. On one of these pages, I had my routine. I would wake up, personal development, and actually, you can call it personal development. I would watch Eric Thomas. I would do a 20-minute full body workout on YouTube because none of the gyms was open here. Even if it was open, I probably wouldn't go, just being honest. But I did a little 20-minute full body workout. And then I would eat, and I was on some super healthy stuff. Like it's some, I don't know, man. It was so crazy. It was so crazy. Like the what you write down, you actually accomplish, you actually manifest. And then under that goal, I have three things. Number one says figure out exactly what you want. I want you to write that down. Figure out exactly what you want. Write that down. Just write that down. Figure out exactly what you want. And I wrote down 250,000 a month. That's what I wrote down. And then I said, then the number two says, when do you want it? Right? When do you want it? When do you want it? Right? When you're manifesting, and pretend you're like taking an order at Chick-fil-A. And someone's asking you what you want. God is asking you what you want. The universe is asking you what you want. You can't just be like a burger. They're going to be like, which one? You can't just be like a nice house. They're going to be like, which one? I wrote down new home, skyrise, city views. I didn't know it was going to be in Houston. I didn't know it was going to be. I said, this, I want this, and I wanted to say this. I want this, and I want to be able to look at that. So when do you want it is number two. When do you actually want it? Right? When do you want it? Someone said God definitely works at Chick-fil-A. That's why it's closed on Sundays. You're funny. Number three, what's the price? What's it going to cost you? Right? What's it going to cost you to hit that goal by that time? What's it going to cost you to hit that goal at that time? See, everyone knows what they want. You can write out a date, but when that price comes up, you either say, nah, I'm going to put it back, or, okay, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to swipe my card, right? What's it going to cost you, right? You ever been shopping? There's no price tag on this, but you put it up on the counter, and the person checks you out, and you find out it's way more expensive than you were anticipating, and you got two options. You got two options. You put it back, like, nah, or you say, yeah, I want that. A lot of times when it comes to our goals, we get to the counter, right? And your mentor tells you the price, and some of you guys put it back. You put your goal back on the shelf, right? Or this is what you do. You ever did that and you say, I'm gonna come back later. That's what you do to your mentor. When you say, yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna go, chairman. Oh yeah, but I'll be back. Nah, today I'm gonna just chill today and chairman tomorrow. Yeah, we launch tomorrow. A lot of you guys are putting your goals on the shelf when you do that. What's the cost? Are you gonna pay or not? You gonna pay the price or not? When I wrote down these three things: 250,000 a month for number one. Number two, I wrote December 31st, 2022. Number three, I wrote, I don't know it all. Mistakes are part of the process. Focus on what you can control. Right? Focus on what you can control. Learn your emotions. I wrote discipline. I wrote belief. Then I wrote act as if it's guaranteed and work as if you cannot take one day off. Right? Literally, these are things that I'm thinking about. These are things that I'm actually doing as a P5, looking at Chairman 25, looking at Chairman 250. I'm gonna say it again. For what's the price? I literally wrote down, I don't know it all. I wrote down, mistakes are part of the process. I wrote down, focus on what you can control. Focus on what you can control. You know how much time you wasted on things you can't control? That's why some people look at how I operate, and look at some nonchalant people, and they take it as these people don't care, right? You ever seen someone that says, like, when something crazy happens, they're just focused on the next thing? Okay, cool. All right, that happened. How we fix it? And people mistake that as I don't care. People mistake that as, oh, this person doesn't care. No, this person is only focused on what they can control. I can't control if this person feels this certain way about some weird thing that happened. I can't control if this person left this business because they had somebody didn't like their picture or some weird stuff. Like the weirdest things actually happen in this world. Focus on what you can control. Then I wrote, learn your emotions. Learn your emotions. Some of us are so great at giving advice, but when it comes to us, we don't take our own advice. And the reason is, when you're looking at someone else's situation, you can look at it as black and white. Okay, this person's wrong. They disrespected you. This person's wrong because they shouldn't have said this. This person's wrong because they went behind your back, whatever. But when it comes to you, you have a hard time taking your own advice because your emotions are involved this time. It's not black and white anymore because your emotions are involved. So it's a little bit of gray, right? So if you were to learn your emotions, you would know how to operate. You would know how to control yourself. You would know how to talk to yourself. You would know how to coach yourself, right? Learn your emotions. I wrote down discipline. I wrote down belief. And I want you to write this down. Act as if it's guaranteed and work as if you cannot take one day off, right? So act as if it's guaranteed. Work as if you cannot take one day off. Right. And then literally, I wrote down something super crazy. I wrote down this right here. So this is a whole nother page. right? How to understand yourself. Because I focused on that, learning your emotions. I wanted to learn myself. I want to learn myself. So I wrote down, understand yourself. Number one, everything you do, you've learned. I want you to write that down. Everything you do, you've learned. And I'm actually going to pick on you a little bit, because from how you speak to how you lead to how you love to how you act when you're angry, you've learned all of that. And the whole quote of "that's just how I am," that's not good enough, right? Put a one in the chat. Have you ever heard somebody say, "Oh, that's just how I am," or "that's just how they are," or "that's just this person being this person"? Oh, that's just how I am. That's not good enough. That's not good enough, right? That's not good enough. If you're grown and old enough, smart enough to understand that's how you are, you're also grown, old, and smart enough to understand you need to change that, right? Oh, I'm just rude. That's just how I am. What you mean that's just how you are? What do you mean that's just how you are? Like that's okay now? Right? That's not good enough. That's how I am is not good enough. So what we're gonna do is identify your character flaws and be honest with yourself. Identify your character flaws. What do you need to improve on? What do you need to improve on as an individual? And what I wrote down at the time was being emotional with the business, right? I used to stop talking to people who didn't give me a list. Like completely stop talking to them. Completely. I wasn't even being a great leader at the time, right? PM50, the chairman, these people learned from us. You learn from a young age on how to do everything you were doing. And the same thing, the next person, someone else who enrolled with you, learn from a young age how to act that way, how to think that way, how to talk that way, how to move that way when it comes to money. So you cannot possibly expect to shift their whole paradigm in one conversation. Every single person you work with is a project. Is a project. They're under construction. They're not yet their final form. So you cannot attach emotion to your relationship with them immediately. You can't just be like, "Oh, you didn't give me a list, so that's it." You can't be like, "Oh, you don't want to do this, so that's it." They're a project. They're a work in progress, just like you. If someone treated you like that, you wouldn't be on this call. You would be gone after day number one. Because there's plenty of things you didn't do that your mentor told you to do. There's plenty of things you didn't do that your sponsor told you to do. But if someone gave up on you the way you give up on people, you wouldn't be here. Right? So what are your character flaws? What are your character flaws? Right? We have to work on ourselves. We have to work on ourselves. And I wrote this down too. I don't know where I was going with this, but I wrote this down. When you're in a room, right? When you're in a room, and let's say you're at a family party and there's a baby there. You're at a family party and there's a baby there. Let's say the baby's just picking up stuff and just putting it in their mouth like toys and things like that. When someone tells the baby not to do it, and the baby continues to do it, right? The whole room just starts to laugh and thinks it's cute, right? Put a 5 in the chat if you agree, right? When you tell a little kid, "Hey, don't pick that up," and they go ahead and pick it up, the whole room thinks it's cute. The whole room thinks it's funny. But sometimes we actually do the same things with ourselves. We actually do the same things with ourselves, but we have that conversation with ourselves. Someone invites you out, you know you're not supposed to go out. You know ain't nothing to celebrate. You know what your back office looks like right now. You know what your back office is doing right now. You shouldn't be outside. But you laugh, you go outside, you entertain it, right? You still do this, you still do that, but you know what your back office is doing, right? You know what your back office is doing. So you're condoning the bad behavior. You are your own worst enemy. Literally. You are your own worst enemy. When we talk about the 5 people you talk to the most, you're part of that 5, right? You're part of that 5. Some of you guys need to stop talking to yourself for a second. because you're your own problem, right? Identify your character flaws. Write them down. I want you to write them down. It may be a really long list, so don't do it on this call. But I want you to write down. Number one, identify your character flaws, right? And I want you to be very intentional, right? Don't and make decisions. Make some real decisions on what it is you just wrote down. Make some real decisions on what it is you wrote down. I want you to understand you don't conform to this life. You transform your life, right? You don't conform to this life. You transform your life. Don't conform to this life. You transform your life, right? You wrote down exactly what you need to work on. When you work on it, you're a different person. That new person walks different, talks different, owns different things, has different friends, better quality friends. Right? And I want you to be I want you to put down your notebooks, put down the pens and listen to what I'm about to say right now. Put down your notebooks, put down your pens and listen to what I'm about to say. When you go walking down the street with your friend, you guys make an agreement that you guys don't talk about. Every single time. You do this every single time. When you walk down the street with your boy, your homegirl, whatever, your mentor, your mentee, doesn't matter. When you walk down the street with someone, you and one other person, one of two things happens. Number one, they adjust to your speed of walking, or two, you adjust to their speed of walking, right? You don't just say, yo, bro, I'm gonna walk a little faster so you don't just say that, right? Either they adjust to your speed of walking or you adjust to their speed of walking. So I want you to ask yourself, whose pace have you adjusted to in this world, right? Whose pace have you adjusted to? Who's walking next to you? Whose pace have you adjusted to? Right? Whose pace have you really adjusted to? When it comes to how you look at money, when it comes to how you look at the back office, when it comes to how you mentor other people, whose pace have you adjusted to? Because a lot of the decisions that shape our lives, sometimes it's not the decisions we make, it's the decisions that we don't make. Right? It's the decisions we don't make sometimes that shape our life. There's people who choose not to join this business every day. That's going to shape their life. Right? There's people who choose not to do personal development. That's going to shape their life. Whose pace have I adjusted to? And what am I not doing right? Have I chosen to not sit on the Zoom call I need to sit on? Right? Because there's thousands of people that should be on this call. Right? There's thousands of people that should be on this call. And if you're a leader, you want to make sure next time your whole team is on a call with the chairman, is on a call with a leader, is on a call getting value. Whose pace have you adjusted to? If you know your team is running at the wrong pace, put your team next to you. If you know your mentee is your mentee, the person you just enrolled, one of your leaders, whatever, is walking at the wrong pace, put them next to you. Because they're going to make the agreement whether they like to or not. They're going to adjust to your pace. That's it. They're going to adjust to your pace. Put your team around you, right? I want you to understand this. Because you've learned everything everything you do, you've learned. I want you to really think about how many decisions have you really made? How many independent decisions have you really made? If you were taught how men should act, you were taught how women should act, you were taught how money is made, you were taught what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So how many personal, independent decisions have you really made? Was that your decision, or were you conditioned to make that choice? Was that your decision, or were you conditioned to make that choice? Did you decide that's just how I am? Or were you conditioned to think it's okay to treat people like that? It's okay to move this way. It's okay to be loud in a quiet place or be quiet in a loud place, right? And I'm not saying this to judge. I'm saying this because I want you to think about you, right? I want you to, the whole topic is understanding yourself. Understanding yourself. Before you understand anything, before you understand the business, before you understand trading, you got to understand yourself, right? And something I wrote down was women and children, something that we're conditioned, right? And I'm speaking in generalities, right? Women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. And I wrote down, a man is loved under the condition that he provides for his family. Right? I wrote that down. Something funny. Women and children are loved unconditionally. Man is loved under the condition that he provides. Right? And it's kind of weird to say, but some people actually agree with that. A lot of people actually agree with that. We actually agree with that. You were conditioned to think only the man's supposed to work. Right? You were conditioned to think that. You were conditioned to think that. But then you see beautiful chairwomen on the team doing what they doing, grinding hard. Right? And the last part, one of the last parts of this is this. One of the last parts of this training is this. Write down the opposite of your flaws. Right? Write down the opposite of your flaws. Example, if you're impatient, write down patience. If you wrote down, I wake up late, write down morning person. Right? If you write down inconsiderate, write down caring, passionate, considerate. If you wrote down quiet, write out just not quiet, right? Don't write down not quiet. Right? Opinionated. Outgoing, that's a great, outspoken, that's a better word. Thanks, Jordan. That's the word I was looking for. Outspoken, bold, outspoken, right? And with your new list, this is what I want you to do. This is a chapter I listen to almost every night. Chapter 5 of Think and Grow Rich. For some versions, it's chapter 4. It's the auto-suggestion chapter. It's the auto-suggestion chapter, right? I'm teaching you how to be perfect. I wrote that down. I'm teaching you how to be perfect. This is me talking to myself. I'm teaching you how to be perfect, whatever that means to you. Whatever your list is, that's your perfect version. Teaching you how to be your version of perfect. So look at that piece of paper that you wrote down with the opposites of your flaws. When you wrote down patience, morning person, hardworking, dedicated, committed, right? For this specific training, we're working on auto-suggestion, right? So for this right here, all your positive quotes, all your positive characteristics, look at that page while you listen to Think and Grow Rich auto-suggestion. Look at that page, right? Look at that page. Look at that page. Every single night, every single day. If you have it on the back of your phone, put it on the back of your phone. But do that while you listen to Think and Grow Rich. Do that while you listen to Think and Grow Rich. Chapter 4, it's either chapter 4 or chapter 5, depending on what version you have. It's called the auto-suggestion chapter. It's the auto-suggestion chapter. You want to listen to that chapter while you look at that list. You want to listen to that chapter while you look at that list, right? It's because when you're running a race, right? When you're going towards a goal, you want to look straight. The version of you with all those flaws looks left and looks right. When you're running towards your goals, you look straight. Look straight. When you look left and right, you're going to see other people's ranks. You're going to see other people's lifestyle, right? You're going to see other people's this. You're going to see other people's that. And that's going to put you in position naturally. It's natural. You're going to compare yourself to other people. You're going to compare your team to another team, or what you think is going on with that team. You're going to compare your story to someone else. Never compare your story to anybody else's story, because your story is God's story. That's God's story, right? I used to ask myself, why do some people get it easy and other people have to go through it, right? Why do some people, I literally wrote down in the business, why do some people just get gifted this leg, or they gifted, or 10 levels deep, they never met or talked to this person and they go chairman? I'm like, damn, why? How do they get that and I don't get it? How do they get that and they don't? Right? When you look left and right, you start to compare yourself, and comparison is a thief of all joy. And I wrote this down. It's going to hit you guys really, 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 really hard. Right? I want you to put your pens down, put the notebooks down, and just listen to what I'm about to say. Just listen. Because these are like some of my thoughts that I just wrote down. I wrote down, why do some people get it easy? And I wrote down, believers have it rough. Believers have it rough. The grinders have it rough. And then I gave the answer. I said, sometimes, and this is, I want you to stop writing. I want you to listen. Why do some people get it easy? I said, believers have it rough. And I wrote down, sometimes the devil allows it so they don't turn to God. Because the devil knows if God gets that one right there, I lose for sure. If God gets that one right there, I lose for sure. So let me make it easy for that person. Because if Big God gets him or her, there's no way I can win. That's why some people got it easy, right? That's why some people have it easy. So continue to focus, right? Continue to focus on your own story. Because your story ends really, really, really well. Trust me, I know the author. You and God, right? Your story ends really, really well. Trust me, I know the author, right? You and God, right? So I want you to be intentional. Like today, I want you to focus on you. Focus on you. Identify your character flaws. Be real with yourself. Be really, really real with yourself. Understand, like, bro, it's okay to work on yourself. It's okay to be better. It's okay if you're a hothead right now. If anything ticks you off, right? It's okay. Work on it, though. It's okay to identify that. Just work on it. Just get better. Because that's the only way you're going to, the reason you sat on this call is because you want to make a certain amount of money. But in actuality, you want to be a certain type of person. That's what it is. That's why you sit on calls. You want to be a certain type of person. And money is just part of what that person has. If you really want to be a certain type of person, you work on that every day, right? The same way you work on your followers every day, work on yourself every day. Same way you work on your rank every day, work on yourself every day, right? Better yourself. The version you want to be has the money. The version you want to be has the money. They have the influence. They have the coolness. They know the people you want to know. That version of yourself. The people you want to be cool with are only cool with a certain type of individual. And that's the individual you're becoming. So work on yourself today. Everyone drop me in the chat. Drop a me in the chat. Because it's you. Work on you. You are your star player. You are the number one person in your life. Some of us, we're too nice. We put everybody else first before us. But to be successful, you have to be a little selfish in the sense that, like Jay-Z said, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. Jay-Z literally said, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. Work on you. Work on you. Become somebody worth following. That's what makes you a leader, right? Do the personal development, and your team will do the personal development. Become somebody worth following. You're gonna have more people worth following within your group. That's how you have momentum. That's how you have crazy growth. That's how you have that explosion. That's how the GV blip. It all starts with that person you just typed. Starts with you, right? So I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna drop this recording on YouTube. Hope you guys got a lot of value, right? Hope you guys got a lot of value. There's a lot. That was legit like 2 pages out of this book. That was just 2 pages out of this book. I'm gonna drop the recording. I know some people saying repeat it. I'm gonna drop the recording. That was like 2 pages out of this book, and I got a whole nother book that I'm gonna look into. But you guys are absolutely amazing. I'm gonna see you guys at the top. Appreciate you guys. I'm gonna see you guys at the top. Make sure you're on tonight's call at 10 p.m. We're giving out information on SummerSlam. Make sure if you are not at SummerSlam, I don't even have words for you, right? If you're not at the person who the good characteristics, that person is going to be at SummerSlam. So make sure you are at SummerSlam. So someone wrote it in the chat exactly what you're going to be if you don't go to SummerSlam. Somebody wrote it in the chat. If you are not at SummerSlam, there's something wrong with you. Something really, really wrong with you. Really, really wrong with you. Make sure you're on the call tonight, 10 p.m. All the links have been blasted. All the links are in your chats, right? And I will see you guys at the top because the bottom is way too crowded. Take care, guys.